Hello everybody. It seems different because today is Tuesday and it's not a Monday or a Wednesday or a Friday. So we have now officially changed our slots to going live on a Tuesday and a Thursday. So I am here today with you for our first of our theme to do with the ocean, because it's World Ocean Day on the 8th of June. So that's pretty cool. So we thought, what an awesome theme to do this month is to do with the ocean. So we're going to be bringing you some crafts that link up with the oceans to celebrate our beautiful oceans. And today I am going to be doing some crafts. My craft is called Fabulous Fish and Octopus, and also a nice one for the small kiddies to do with the help of the parents, but a nice little craft with some hand stamping and then some paper fish, which I'm going to show you. So I'm just going to give it a little bit more time for a few more people to jump on, and then I'm going to start. So I hope everybody is having a good week so far. It's quite nice to change it up and do this on a Tuesday. Who can I see that's online today? Who have I got? I can see Nix. Hello, Nix. Who else? I wonder if CJ is going to be watching, because it's her little girl Charlie Rose's birthday. So a shout out to Charlie Rose. She turns 2. So happy birthday, little Charlie Rose. She got a doll's house for her birthday, courtesy of her mother and courtesy of the Happy Heart Art Club DIY how-to guide. So Charlie Rose was stoked with her little box. So I'm sure we'll put up some pictures of her enjoying her doll's house that her mom made. We are so excited about that. Okay, hello Beazle. All right, so I'm gonna start. So today's craft is we're going to be making some fish and some octopus, and it's really simple techniques, actually techniques that we've used before in this craft club, which I think is always quite nice to revisit them and to use them in different ways. So today I have learned my lesson, and I have pre-hand stamped, because I learned that trying to hand stamp with 2-year-olds is possibly not the best idea when trying to do a live stream. So I did do quite a bit of hand stamping yesterday with Mac, and he was an absolute star. And so I have got them done. So I'm not going to be doing painting now. I'm just going to show you what we are doing. So we're going to make a fish and an octopus out of hand stamping, and then I'm going to show you how you can present them in 2 different ways. So what you need for this is a piece of paper. I used white paper. I've got this pad of white paper. And then I just got Mac to sit on my lap, and I painted his hand, and we stamped it down. Same as we did with the Very Hungry Caterpillar craft. Hand stamped it. You can usually get at least 2 with one hand stamp, and then you may need to repaint. I was keen on doing a few colors, but Mac wanted me to do every color paint that we had, so I ended up doing quite a few hands that I stamped. So you stamp them onto the page. Once it's dried, you need to cut them out. Okay, so here's one of his little hands in yellow, and I've just cut around the fingers. Okay, so I've got red, I've got green, I've got blue, I've got purple, I've got them all. So once you've stamped the hands, you cut them out. When you've cut them out, then you're going to decide whether you want to make your little hands into a fish or whether you want to make them into an octopus. So I'm going to make a little fish with this blue hand just to show you quickly. So, I mean, pretty simple. Fish is here. I took a piece of pink paper. You can use orange or red. You could also use white and color it in. But I just cut out some sort of fishy lips from the paper, just like this. So it's almost like a heart shape. I don't know if you can even see that. It's almost like a heart shape, but without the point of the heart at the bottom. Okay, then I just took normal, we have Pritt glue here. any type of paper glue, and I put a little bit of glue on that, and you want your hand to be this way with the thumb pointing downwards. And then I stuck the little lips onto there, and I've got my little lips on my fish now. Okay, and then I took a goggly eye. If you don't have, they look really nice on there, I love them. But if you don't have goggly eyes, you can just use, you can just draw your eye on. So I've got my goggly eye here, stuck on, and there's my fish done and dusted. And then you can decide if you want to put some sequins on. You would then just go glue like this on top of it, and then you would just sprinkle your glitter or your sequins on top of that area where you put the glue, and then press it down a bit, and then I just shake it back off into the thing. I didn't put enough glue there actually, so but you can see now it's almost like I've made some scales on the fish, and it's shiny, so you can go do as much or as few as you like. So there's my little fish. When I want to do my octopus, I take the other hand that I had. I'm going to use yellow. I take 2 goggly eyes. Again, you can just use a marker pen. They're really quite inexpensive though, these eyes. I bought mine from a stationery store, from Walton's. I know you can buy them from anywhere probably. Okay, so now I've already made something that looks a little bit like an octopus. Then you can decorate it in a couple of ways. I'll show you a few that I did. Here's one that I did with sequins, okay? And here is one that I actually used some pipe cleaners, and I attached the pipe cleaners onto the legs and I curled them up. So that one looks quite cool. And one that I've done, I'll show you just now. I actually used some Fruit Loops, so I'm going to show you that now. I love Fruit Loops. Again, I used those Fruit Loops in the Hungry Caterpillar thing as well. I still had some Fruit Loops, so I thought that might look quite cool. So I put some glue down onto the fingers of the hand that I've stamped and cut out. And your children can do this. I mean, it's really quite simple. You've cut, even like older children obviously can cut out around the hand, and they really can just be left alone to go ahead with it. So the Fruit Loops are quite sweet because they actually look like the suckers on the octopus. So it's quite nice. You need a little bit extra glue here because I'm actually now spilling it. There we go. So I've got Fruit Loop, and sorry, another one, and lastly, here we go. So now I've got my Fruit Loop stuck onto my octopus there, and he's got his little tentacles. I think you can kind of see. Oopsie, one fell off. But that is kind of what, there we go. So now we've got our octopus and we've got our little fish. So now you can decide, like in my examples that I showed you, I had my 2 octopus here on little skewer sticks. So I've just sellotaped the skewer stick onto the back, and I've got my little octopus. So you can then have them as puppets, I suppose. And then I did my little fish as well like that. So I've got one here that I decorated with buttons. Okay. I've got another one, where is he? Over here, a green one and an orange one. This one's got sequins for the scale. If you look very closely, I don't know if you can even see, they're actually Santa sequins, so they're actually Christmas sequins. But I figured when I put them very close together, you couldn't really notice. And then I've got my green fish here again with its sequin scales. So those can make your puppets and your little ones that you can play with. If you don't have skewer sticks or popsicle sticks, then the other idea I had, which is using bubble wrap stamping, and you're going to then make the bubble for the underwater effect of your sea scene. Nikki did this when she made those dragons dress up, the headgear, and the dragons. She made dragon skin. So what you do is you take your bubble wrap, and obviously you put it on the bubble side, and you paint onto the top of the bubble wrap, and then you stamp it down across your page like this, okay? And you keep going until you've filled as much space as you want on your page. And Then you wait for it to dry, and then you land up with something that looks like this. So it could be dragon skin if you were doing dragons, but it can also be underwater bubbles. So I've done blue, I did some green here, I did orange, I did some yellow. So you can, well, I actually didn't do all of them. Mackenzie did quite a few of them as well. So if I take my blue bubble page and I put it down, then I can take my green bubble stamp page and I can cut out some seaweed. So I just cut the shape of seaweed out here. You can see it's not like that difficult to make something that looks a bit like seaweed. You could also make it, I thought it could also be colorful coral if you wanted it to be. So here's some seaweed, and I take my glue and I'm going to stick it down onto my page. I'm just going to stick it in the middle. Then I can take my fish and I put a little bit of glue on my fish and I can stick him down. And I can take my octopus again that I've done with my Fruit Loops and I can stick him onto here. And suddenly I've got a 3D effect. I can even draw with my marker pen some bubbles coming out of the fish's mouth. And now I've got a 3D piece of art using bubble wrap stamping and handprint stamping. And I've made an octopus and a fish, which is pretty cool. So I'll show you two that I did over here. This is a similar one with dark blue bubbles in the background, and I've got my green octopus and my red fish with some seaweed. And then on this one, I've just got 3 octopus using my Fruit Loops. Okay? And it's quite nice because I didn't stick it properly. So the octopus's tentacles can actually flap. In this one, I didn't actually stick down my seaweed properly either because my fish can then swim underneath it, which I thought was quite nice. It's very tactile and it's quite a lot of fun and it's very simple and it's actually very effective. So that was really fun. Mac and I had a lot of fun doing that yesterday. So I've got a whole lot of hand stamps left here. Maybe I will make a flower arrangement like Nikki did in the past, sticking them onto skewer sticks. Who knows? I'm sure I can come up with many crafts to use those hand prints that I've got. Okay, so moving on, I then decided I wanted to make another, maybe you don't have access to paint and you still want to make some fabulous fish. And so I decided that it might be quite nice to make a fish out of, just straight out of paper. So what I suggested in the guide is that you take an A4 piece of paper. Okay, a colored paper is quite nice. This is not very colorful right now, but you would take A4. I'm just going to use one that I've already cut from, but I just wanted to show you the A4 size. And then you go roughly, I want to say maybe 1/4 of the page. You're going to snip it off. So 6 centimeters from the top. And you're going to cut yourself a strip like this. Okay, from your A4 paper. So you've left with it like this. Then you're going to fold it over so that you make it about, I suppose, you're leaving like 1/4 on the other side at the end. I don't know if you can really see on this pink paper. So I folded it over to here. Here's the line that I folded it onto. And now I'm going to snip off this extra bit of a rectangle. Okay? So now basically I've just made it a bit smaller. And this is going to be my fish's body, and this I'm going to use as my fish's tail. So I cut sort of from the middle and out, and again I'm cutting from the corner and in, and this is going to be my fish's tail. So it's actually like, what do you call this? A trapezium actually, but it's a triangle without the top on it. And I'm going to take my glue again, and I will stick a piece of glue down like this onto this piece of paper that I've cut, and I'm taking my tail and I'm sticking it into the middle, so you're left with something that looks a little bit like that. And then you're going to stick it closed. So I've literally put the glue just on the end because I want it to be a bubble, like a 3D effect. Now I've got something that resembles a little bit of a fish, and I'm going to make a little mouth. So I'm going to snip a triangle into that rounded edge. Okay, So there we go. We've got our little fish. He can stand there actually. I took this triangle that I cut out and I snipped it in half, and I actually used this as the, what's it called? Gosh, I've gone blank here. Fin. The fins. That's it. Sorry, that escaped me for a moment. So I put the little fins on to my fishy over here. Then what I did was I took my marker pen again and I drew some lines just onto the fins and onto the tail. Okay, like that. So now I've got my fins and I've got my tail of my little fishy. And again, I take my trusty goggly eyes and I can attach them onto my fish like this on either side. So I've got one eye over there and I've got one eye over here. Okay, and now suddenly I've got my very basic paper fish done. If you want to get a little bit more creative, you can then put glue onto this fish and decorate it with some glitter or sequins or buttons or anything that you like. I'm not going to decorate this one because the glitter is quite messy. I like to do it outside, so I can shake it off onto the grass. But I've got this fishy here where I've decorated it with some glitter at the bottom. Okay, and it's quite sweet because his mouth is open. And then I did a green one over here where I used multicolored glitter and I put it on his tail as well. So now I've got my two little fish that can stand next to each other. I bet you my one's going to... No, he's not falling over. Okay, so we've got our fabulous paper fish and we've got our fabulous hand fish. And then we have got our fabulous octopus using the hand stamping technique. And that is how you make it. So you can even put these, do you know what really looks quite sweet is if you put them into frames. You frame your kids' art. I don't know how the Fruit Loops would last, so possibly not those ones. But these ones look so awesome and you hang them up in their room or even on in your kitchen or something, and they actually look pretty awesome and your kids are so proud that you've actually displayed something that they have made themselves. So that's just an idea. But that is the first craft for the month of June, ocean theme. I hope that you enjoyed it and I hope that you managed to do it. Thank you so much for joining me today, and Nikki will see you on Thursday.